Welcome to the third episode of the SO Podcast, a Scotty officiating podcast where a first-year official share his experience with you every step of the way. I've been appreciating all the love and support on the first episodes on social media, mainly TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. You guys have been killing the like button. I've seen some of my shorts even get up to 1,000 views, 700 views. I had a video go viral at 1.5K on TikTok. You guys have been absolutely crushing, and I really do appreciate it. So if you guys are not on those platforms, please check those out as well. All of it in the link tree below. With that being said, we're going to talk about my first interest meeting when I went to before, like about a month ago now, as well as my first clinic, which was a few weeks ago. A lot of things have happened and a lot of things are changing. I got a big announcement at the end, so make sure you guys tune in to the end of the episode. So with that being said, we're going to start with the interest meeting. So when I first got in contact with Jared prior to the interest meeting, it was very minimal. It was basically back in April of this year and didn't really talk much, didn't really interact. I think I followed up with him right before the rules clinic and right before the season was going to start. And I was like, hey, when's the first meeting? When can I show up? Where do I need to be? And he, messaged back out to me, gave me all the information, all that stuff when he told me about my fee being paid for. So we go to the interest meeting. It was the day of the interest meeting. It was a Sunday, I believe it was. I drive to a city I've never been to on the outskirts of town, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, like this is out there. And it was crazy to me that a lot of people that work in the city I'm in commute as well. A lot of people do. Pretty much everyone commutes, I want to say, to this meeting at least 20 to 30 minutes. So I think the highest is like 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour. So it's crazy that a lot of people really do care about officiating and kind of making money, but also putting in the time and effort to do everything correctly. I was nervous because I didn't know how I was going to go. I didn't know anyone. I've maybe had 5-10 emails tops with these people. Didn't know who I was going to meet, and honestly kind of blanked out because I was so nervous. So I showed up, and everyone's introducing themselves. I meet Jared. I meet a couple other people, and they were very nice. I let them know that was the first year. I've never officiated before. And Jared, pulls me aside. He talks to me. I'm filling out, some forms for just kind of some information stuff that they add me to the system that they use. And we talk about, do I want to do this? Why am I doing this? Because they didn't want just people collecting a paycheck, because essentially that makes them look bad, which is true. If people just here to collect a paycheck, they're not going to do the correct job. So I let them know that, my interest was that I haven't played basketball in years. I miss being a part of the game in a way, because growing up, I played rec ball all the time. Literally, it was like 2 or 3 times a week, plus a game on, plus practice and plus a game. I was playing basketball, and I miss those days. I miss going to a gym. I miss, the squeaking of the floor. I miss just the laughs and the good times I had with people. It was a kind of a culture and a lifestyle that I just enjoyed. And when he heard that, I think, he kind of seemed like I was like, okay, like I'm kind of the real deal. Like I really want to do this. And, they asked about me, what I do. And they let me know about the scheduling and, how it works. Like, hey, like I don't know what it is that you do. I don't know what your hours are. And I was like, I'll have to talk to my boss. I don't know how it's going to go, which we'll get into shortly. And basically he goes, all right, all you got to do is just figure out, these games and, these type of games, and we'll be okay. And essentially, I talked to my boss. This was probably like a week or two ago. I was like, hey, look, I need to make more money. I found a job officiating. My vet bills are high with my dog. Essentially, there's a lot of other expenses I would like to pay for that my current job cannot let me afford. She understood. I don't know if she actually knows how much I get paid. Technically, my pay is public information, but I don't think she knew how much I got paid. So I told her, I was like, look, I don't know how many games I'm going to do a week. The games that are going to be affected during the week, during like serious work hours, like if the game starts at 5, 6 o'clock, it doesn't affect much. But if it's a game that starts at 4, like that's going to be an issue because I have to get off work. She goes, I let her know, I was like, hey, I'll do 4 games a month, 4 middle school games a month. And, with the hopes that, when I move up the ranks, I kind of I do varsity. I do maybe do a little bit of JV. Just do the games that I can. So she talked to her, her boss, and she goes, okay, fill out the forms. I filled out the forms. It took like 2 or 3 times to submit correctly, and eventually I got approved for it, which was great. I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is serious. I'm doing it. Like, here we go. One thing that Jared really brought up to my attention early on was how much it cost. And at first, I'll be honest, I didn't think about the money. I'm thinking it's going to be, $100, $200 tops. Maybe I just need to get one shirt and, a pair of pants and shoes. He tells me my shoes are wrong, so I have to get a pair of shoes because they had white soles and they need to be black. So I go, okay. I understand to do that. Bought up the shoes, no problem. Come to find out, there's like 3 different shirts we have to wear. We have to wear a rec shirt, rec/middle school, private high school, and public high school. So I sat there and go, that's expensive. So there's that. Then we also had to buy a jacket, which was $50, which I mentioned. It's $200 to $300, including the association dues, including Dragonfly to register for Georgia High School. I think I even had to pay like a national due too. I don't know. I'll be honest. Like I probably pay $250 to $325 in dues and gear and whistle stuff like that, and it's a lot. Like it really is a lot to be an official. But once you have it, you have it. There is no upkeep cost. Maybe you get shoes every year, and I make that probably back in one day worth of work. That's how they broke it down to me. And I mentioned that in my previous episode that you will make your money back, and that's what they said. And I'm probably going to be working more because I'm hoping that I can get some rec league games on the weekends to kind of offset a lot of my costs and just work hard and get better at officiating mainly because I want to be able to get to high school by the end of the year doing JV and varsity, hopefully varsity, because I know those games start at like 6, and that means I can like not take off work for it. So we'll figure it out. With that being said, we're going to move on to the next topic of the podcast, which is the beginners clinic. So this clinic was on a Monday. I went to a gym on an interesting part of town, kind of the southern part of town, a part that I'm not really familiar with. Took the GPS. Showed up at a really nice school. We had like a basketball and a half. One was really deflated. The other one was okay. So I actually went out and bought my own basketball just to take with me so I can shoot, but also have something during the clinics. We talk about some of the pregame procedures, and to be honest, I didn't realize how important it was to have a procedure for officiating. I'm thinking they just show up and, they check the book and that's it. There's a lot of positioning. They talk about the book, what to look for in the book, and then we talk about the coaches meeting. So when it comes to positioning, come to find out, you have to be there 15 minutes before the game starts. Like you have to be on the court ready to go 15 minutes before the game starts. I believe the call time for officiating is usually 30 minutes for middle school and then like 45 for high school, which seems, pretty accurate, I would say. And I realized at the 12-minute mark, they're checking the book, and I'm sitting there thinking like, well, guy goes check the book. What do you just sit there, right? Oh no, you have to move to center court. So there's certain positions that you sit on each side of the court. One person watches home bench, one person watches away. You're also checking the layup lines to make sure that people have the correct number. Uniforms are properly worn. Players are legally equipped with sleeves and other things that they have. And I'm sitting there thinking like, I didn't think they would take this much detail. And they did that. So they go check the book. They let us know to cross out the bottom so no one can be added. And I was like, that's interesting. Like, I would think that'd be okay. But they're like, no, like you can't have people add on. You can have too many players, but you can't have, if the number is short in the book than what it is on the court, that's a problem. But if there's more names in the book than on the court, then that's okay. That means either someone's not playing, not there, something's happened. So we check the book. You make during this time. You also check to make sure that the ball is properly inflated, that you get the correct ball. They emphasize this at the middle school level because you're doing a women's game and a men's game, and sometimes they'll just hand you a ball. So they let us know to check the ball. They let us know some key details of what to check and stuff like that. So that was really cool that I'm sitting there thinking like, who would mess this up? Like no one would mess this up, like, right? But apparently it happens. So you check the, one person's at half court while the other person's checking the book. Once the person's done checking the book, they come walking back. And then once they are all the way back, you kind of move back to your original spot, which is depending on what you are. If you're not checking the book, I believe it's to your right. And if it's not checking the book, it's to your left, depending on how you look at it. So there's that. The coaches meeting, I really didn't know what was going to go on. because in my opinion, I think they just sit there for 3 to 5 minutes and talking about whatever. But I didn't know there was actual mandatory things that you have to get, which was new to me. And it took me a second to figure out what you actually need to learn. And for me, it was, you got to make sure players are legally equipped, uniforms are properly worn, and more importantly, maintain good sportsmanship. Which I sit there and I'm like, no one listens to the third thing. Let's be honest here. So it's sad we live in a world where in education, sports it's an education based. That's what they emphasize to us, is that people don't like to maintain good sportsmanship, which I get to an extent, for certain schools, but I think sometimes it gets a little overboard. Like if a team's up by 30 and they're not putting in their bench, I kind of get pissed. It's like, bro, why? Like the game's pretty much out of reach. And yet you have your starters in. Like there's no point putting your bench players who are never going to play for the rest of the season and then let them execute. If you hear a dog behind me, I apologize. It's probably my dog barking about something. But anyways, those were some kind of the things that we went over in the pregame stuff. We also did go over some fouls and violations. We got practice blowing the whistle. When I blew the whistle for the first time, I accidentally shanked it. I kind of didn't blow it correctly. So we all laughed for a second. I mean, someone else did it too. It was kind of funny. We laugh about it. And then, as the camp or as the clinic went on, I got better, more confident. So that was really, good that, hey, if I whiff a whistle from the start, the only way I can go is up at this point, which I did. I feel confident because I'm proud to announce that my first game will be Monday, was yesterday as of this recording. I'm recording on Sunday, October 23rd. This podcast is going up on the 25th. I will have a game tomorrow on the 24th. It will be a middle school doubleheader. We'll have a girls game first and then a boys game. This is kind of my big announcement. When I found out today that I was basically working my first game that quickly, I was like, oh, that's how we're doing it. All right, here we go. I'm excited. I'm nervous. The person that I'm working with is actually one of my favorite officials I'm working with. He's very nice. We've always had good conversation. He's also motivating me to do really well. He's giving me a lot of extra tips and advice to do things better. And to me, I'm all for that because I want to get better at this. I really want to get to varsity. So one, for the money, but also to the fact that to prove I can do something if I put my mind to it. With that being said, this is going to be another short episode. So this will be going up on Tuesday. I will have Kirsten will not be at the game recording, so I will not do a video game breakdown as promised, just because she has a personal appointment. So we will do a podcast episode that will be going up on Friday. That'll break down the game, kind of my thoughts and how it went. Then next Tuesday, we'll have another podcast episode talking about the rules clinics. Then I also have another one this Saturday. I'm really upset that I can't do this video breakdown because I really want to video my first game and document it, but due to just unforeseen circumstances, I just can't do it, unfortunately, which is fine. I've accepted it. Kirsten understands. I understand. We're both on the same page doing this, and that's perfectly okay. So that being said, make sure you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Scotty Officiates. Linktree will be in the description down below in this podcast. Submit questions of the podcast, which is located in the Linktree as well. For any questions you guys have, you want me to answer here on the podcast. I'm working on more platforms such as Apple Podcast and more. Google Podcast. Right now I'm just on Spotify. I think Apple Podcast should be working, but I actually do not know. So we're going to see. I got to figure that out this week. It's been very busy at work. There was 2 days I didn't upload TikToks, and now I'm kind of trying to play catch up with posting more podcast content, and eventually I will go back to my reaction stuff and got to record more of those. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I hope everyone has a good rest of your evening, and I'll see you guys on Friday.